Well, welcome back to Bottom Line Africa. Thank you for staying with us. Now, a high-level UNGA side event has just been concluded in the United States. The side event, which touches on cross-border peace initiatives along the Kenya-Ethiopia border, was co-organized by the permanent representations of Ethiopia and Kenya to the United Nations, alongside the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and the UN Office of Counter-Terrorism. Now, the high-level speakers from Ethiopia, Kenya, IGAD, the UNOCT, and the UNDP participated in the meeting. Now, just to tell us more on what this mega Kenya-Ethiopia cross-border initiative is all about, I'm joined in studio by Mohamed Tache, the head of Marsabit Governors Delivery Unit. Thank you so much for making time. Welcome to Bottom Line Africa.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's just talk about the Kenya-Ethiopia cross-border initiative. Obviously, this is something that the Marsabit County is looking forward to. Perhaps let's start by taking a look at the objectives of this particular initiative, as well as how it will transform the lives of the members of Marsabit County.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Well, the cross-border program is an integrated program that was born out of the necessity to address long-standing border issues and conflict both in Kenya and Ethiopia. Over time, the communities along the border were more often than not marginalized. They were not incorporated in the socio-economic programs of the country, and they were left behind. And given the porous nature of our borders, the leaders of the two countries felt that it's about time, when the common problems that faces the people are addressed through a common approach. So way back in 2015, December 7th, His Excellency the President of Kenya, His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the then Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie Desalegn, signed an MOU to see on how the two countries can work together on issues that are of interest to both of them and that can affect the communities along the border. After the MOU, the UNDP, IGAD, and other international partners came on board, and a program that was transformative, that can change, the narrative of the borderline, the borderlands, was developed. So the program did not kick off immediately. There were issues to do with funding. It was a highly ambitious program that was costed about 550 million USD, equivalent to 55 billion shilling. But initially, at the time, and up to last year, only 20% of the funding have been pledged. So the program designs kept on, changing here and there. The funds is still being sought, and we hope that the fund will be available. The program generally has about 4 areas that we want to address. It was to strengthen the conflict resolution mechanism along the border, enhance people's access to trade and financial services, then improve environment and integrated natural resource management along the border. Most of the resource on the border, both the land and the pasture, the water, is being shared. For pastoralists, the border is just, in paper. They cross over when there's water on the other side of the border, the others come over. So there was the need then to see how this resource can be managed together. Then the program also anticipates to build certain knowledge on what cross-border issues actually are, and then develop appropriate responses to these issues. Finally, it was about enhancing partnership and collaborations on all issues related to the border areas. Border areas have similar characteristics. So there was a desire to develop a common platform, a common approach, and a partnership framework to address issues of the borderland.
Okay, so how far is the implementation process as we speak?
Yes, the program was designed, the final design of the program came out last year, 2017, in June 2017. But as I said, the entire funding for the program was not available. But from this year, February 2018, we began the first component of the program, the cross-border integrated program on peace development and conflict mitigation. About a 2.3 million USD program was begun, mainly funded by with a big support from EU. Okay. So what's actually is going on is now that component. The program has several components, from the livelihood, from water resource management, integrated management of natural resource. But what has actually now begun is the peace component of the program.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, that's very important, the
yes.
peace component. But as we well know, the neighboring country, Ethiopia,
yes.
is perhaps the second largest country in terms of population in Africa, about 100 million yes. Citizens in that particular country.
Yes.
As Marsabit County, how are you planning to take advantage of that particular population in terms of boosting revenues through tourism, through trade, especially cross-border trade? Yes.
It is true Ethiopia has a very big population, but the program in Ethiopia is limited to the Borana and the Dawa zone of Ethiopia. It will not cover the entire part of Ethiopia. On this side, it covers the Marsabit County. Then on the other side, it is the Borana area, which is the Moyale region of Oromia, the Dillo region, and then other small towns. So that's about a population of 9 to 10 million people, plus now on this side. Our biggest issue initially had been the infrastructure, the roads, the networks, network, and we anticipate that with the opening up of these regions, Marsabit products, largely the livestock products, the crop that we grow in Marsabit, and the trade, the business, will have a bigger market. Okay. The program comes with physical development as well, the connectivity between the people. So we anticipate easier movement of people and livestock and their goods, and enhanced access to our products.
Okay, that's
yes.
very true.
Yes.
Now let's take a holistic look. Now this is a pilot
yes.
phase. They're trying to see if this can work by trying it out at the Kenya and Ethiopia border. According to you, do you think this can be applied in other areas, especially areas that are not so peaceful, especially around the border?
Yes, absolutely. Borderlands in Africa have similar characteristics. Across all the border areas, the development indices are very low, and border points are more often than not also a breeding ground and safe havens for elements with criminal and extremist ideas. So the same program can be replicated across other border areas of Kenya. For example, the Mandera Triangle. We have had issues with the porous border of Mandera. Mandera borders Somalia, it borders also Ethiopia. So the area called Mandera Triangle, that is similar characteristics with now the Marsabit Ethiopia border. Then we have the Karamoja cluster, the border between the West Pokot, Uganda, and also other part of Ethiopia. So all these areas have similar characteristics, and the same program, of course with a little adjustment in the design here and there, can be replicated. And in fact, that is now the talks globally on how to secure borderlands, on how to bring about rapid socio-economic development along the border, so that the border areas will no longer be a problem to us, but a source of security, a source of livelihood. It is imperative that all border areas have similar kind of programs, and it's possible to replicate.
Well, that's very true. Let's take a look at the security aspect.
Yes.
And especially, this might be one of the challenges facing Marsabit County, irrespective of perhaps the high levels of poverty, since it is located at the border.
Yes.
Now, in terms of poverty, how can they cross-border initiatives, especially in terms of pay, that it will reduce the uprise of Islamist group, especially since having in mind that Somalia, the home of Al-Shabaab, the Islamist terror group linked to Al-Qaeda, is right there. How can this cross-border initiative actually help in alleviating the peace situation in your county as well as others?
Yes. Yes. Jesse, it is believed that conflict has several causal factors. The underlying causes of conflict moving in the north are fight over resources, unemployment, poverty is a major driver of conflict and insecurity. When a program is designed to address these cause factors, when the poverty is reduced, when employment is created, when people's lives are improved and people's are made to participate in social economic activities, there will be little time available to people to engage in other activities. Things like the Islamist Al-Shabaab activities, more often than not, builds on an existing vulnerability of people. And when the program addresses this underlying vulnerability, we hope that it will somehow mitigate the pull factors, those things that pull people into engaging in these kind of activities will be drastically reduced. Of course, there are other factors, there are other issues outside the livelihood and the economic factors, but these are one of the core drivers of conflict. So yes, it will definitely contribute to reduction of conflict, by improving the livelihood, by addressing the socio-economic challenges that people face.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we've talked about the implementation process already.
Yes.
You've told us where it is so far.
Yes.
But let's just take a look. I'm pretty sure this particular cross-border initiative is meant to unlock the economic potential of this, the two regions, Marsabit and the border area as well. Let's just take a look at the untapped resources in this particular region. As we all know, Marsabit obviously has a lot to offer, not just to Kenya, but the neighboring country as well. This untapped resources, how will this particular cross-border initiative help in opening up this?
Yes, thank you. Marsabit, by and large, the people there practice pastoralism. We keep livestock. And livestock has overlong been, livestock potential has been underutilized. If I give an example, in Kenya we consume about 66,000 metric tons of meat every year. Okay. 80% of this livestock come from the livestock reared by pastoralists. But out of this 80%, 20% of this livestock are from the neighboring countries, from Ethiopia, from Somalia. Well, at the national level, enough effort has not been done to ensure that our livestock is real, that we realize the potential of livestock. It is normally said livestock contributes about 10% to Kenya's GDP. But in reality, the potential is far more than that. IGAD recently did a study where the livestock contribution to Kenya's economy, or the value of the livestock, is about 350 billion Kenyan shillings, against the officially documented figure of 70 billion. That is about 300% more than what we currently talk about. Okay. So once the right intervention and infrastructure are put in place, especially for livestock productions and livestock marketing, the program has a potential to unlock this untapped potential of Marsabit. Secondly, Marsabit is by itself a tourist county, and yet it's not well known because we have been for so long closed. Marsabit is where you find 6 out of the 900 historical sites documented by UNESCO as World Heritage Sites. 6 of them are in Marsabit. And few of even us Kenyans are able to know this. Marsabit has been, home to communities that have kept that tradition for millions of years. Kenya already has developed a lot of over-reliance on beaches and wildlife as source of tourism. Now Marsabit has a potential to offer alternative form of tourism called the heritage tourism. Okay. Destination to cultural and historical sites. So with opening up of the area, we anticipate that these and many others, including farming, Marsabit, although on a small scale, a number of farming practices takes place. People do farm sorghum, maize, beans, teff. I don't know about it, something called some small seeds called teff, the one that they used to make Ethiopian injera, the brown injera.
Okay.
All these are grown in Marsabit, but this potential have not been fully exploited.
Okay, allow me to cut you short there.
Yes.
As we conclude the interview, perhaps let's take a look at the stakeholders in this particular cross-border initiative. We know of the obvious, the UNDP and the likes.
Yes.
Are the residents of Marsabit actively participating in this initiative? Talking about the community leaders, talking about the religious leaders, the Council of Elders. Tell us about that.
The program is designed in such a way that it is people-centered. The peace and conflict mitigation that the program will pursue shall be primarily done by the already existing peace committees. So existing structures is what the program will actually build on. People will both be the beneficiary and the key stakeholder in the program. When we talk about the program is just a very big general concept. Its implementation shall be done through a series of projects. So what project shall actually be done in which area shall be determined by the local people of that area. So people will have a strong say in the project implementation, in the running of the program, and the whole program will rotate around the people's need. So it's a people-centered program, and it will definitely be implemented in line with the wishes and the needs of the people.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. That was Mohammed Tache. Perhaps before I let you go, let's just take a look at what guys are saying on social media in regards to the Twitter poll question we had asked. We asked, do you think cross-border collaborations will be a solution to conflicts in Africa? That's the question we posed. Obviously, numerous replies coming in. One says, yes, the cross-border development properly utilized will have the effect of neutralizing divisions and differences which are sometimes amplified by our diversity. Our diversity should be our strength. Yet another yes, as those people go to the ground, they're able to know what the common people are going through instead of sitting in Nairobi alone. Those are just some of the comments. Obviously, resounding yes, that this cross-border development initiative will be a solution to border conflicts in Africa. And that's exactly what Mr. Mohammed Tache is saying right here in studio. Thank you so much for making time. We look forward to the success of this cross-border initiative, especially for the residents of Marsabit County.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's just conclude.